All right, this is going to be kind of a loose-ish overview of Canva. I am working in the free version of Canva. I do not pay for Canva, so everything I do is going to be the free version. So people that are trying to look to how to remove the background in Canva, I won't be able to do that because I do not have that version. This is going to be more about the interface and how to get around Canva and stuff like that instead of removing backgrounds. So here we go. This is the home screen. I'm on a Mac inside of the Canva application. This should look very similar to the application in Windows and very similar to the web application. They shouldn't be different at all. They should be pretty close to each other. This is the home screen. You have your recent designs. You have projects that you can build, stuff that you want to try, all kinds of stuff. If you want to create a design for a tumbler and you have your dimensions, you can come over here to the, and this is really for anything, over to the right side and hit create design. And then you're going to do a custom design, which is down here. This is what we're going to work on. You'll have your recent custom designs. You'll see mine has a 9.3 by 825. That's my tumbler size that I built. I have a 15 by 15. 15 by 15 is usually what I do for when I'm doing artwork that people will probably use for a t-shirt or something other than a tumbler. And so that whenever you're typing this, make sure that you're over here, you're in inches because it defaults to pixels and you don't want to type in 93825. You'll get a super small image. So make sure this is in inches. They have millimeters and centimeters. I'll just work in inches and we're going to do 9.3 by 8.25. If I could type. And then create new design. So here's our blank design. Let's get familiar with what we got going on over here. Design over on the left side, you'll have a bunch of different tabs. Design tab is if you want to make a design from a pre-existing layout. That would be where you would click. You click on elements. These are all the elements that are offered. If you see a little crown next to your element, that means it's only used in Pro. And if you were to add it, you'll get a bunch of watermarks from Canva. And to remove that watermark, you'd have to upgrade. We're not going to do that. This gives you graphics, stickers, photos, videos, audio, charts, all kinds of stuff is in the elements. These are all pre-built by Canva and people that upload them from Canva, like to Canva. So everything in here is from Canva. Next is all our text. You have a bunch of pre-designed text effects. Once again, if you see a crown, that's the Pro version. If you don't see the crown, we can use that however we want. The brand is for you. You need to pay for this to use this. This is if you have a brand and you want to upload your brand colors and fonts and logos and all that stuff. I really won't be using this very much. Uploads is where you upload your own artwork. Excuse me. Upload your own artwork. This is all the stuff that I've uploaded to Canva to use. Drawing, I barely use this. This is just I get to draw, I guess. You can freehand in here. Create elements if you'd like. I cannot draw for the life of me, so I won't be using this, that's for sure. Next is projects that I've made, stuff that we've built, we have built, or you have built. They'll be in the projects. You have designs, folders, images, and videos. So it's kind of broken down into segments of what you have, and all is the first one. These are just all your projects. Apps is add-ons. I don't really use this either, so probably not a good person to learn from for this. The only thing I would say that I would use would be the Google Drive. So if you pay for the Google Drive that I offer, this you can connect and add to here. You would click connect, you would put in your credentials for your Google Drive, and then it would pop up here. I think I could do that real quick. Let me look real fast. I'll hit allow. And then I'll open Canva, and now you'll see my Google Drive is here. I have a lot of stuff in my Google Drive, but I will go to which would be just the Google Drive that I offer, which is way down here. You wouldn't have this much stuff in yours, or you do, I don't know. But here is the Google Drive that I offer, and here are all the folders. And as you can see, what's really great is you can just look at them inside of here, and sort, and you can search and all kinds of stuff. It's a really cool way to work if you use Google Drive, whether it be from me or from someone else. You could literally just see all of the images previewed right here. Okay. So that is this sidebar down here. Okay. At the top, we have file, which is to create a new file. If you're going to save, this is, we'll get to this later on, but this is kind of what's in here, just kind of normal. You can show rulers, you can show margins, bleeds, all that kind of stuff in here. We won't use too much of this. You might use margins, that's about it, to make sure you're not too close to the edge, but we're not worried about that right now. Magic Switch is for the pro users. Once again, we won't be getting into this because I don't have the pro version. These two little arrows are for undoing and redoing, and I'll show you what that means. So let's say I put a square here and I may change the color of it, and I don't want it to be that color. I can click this to undo and it'll go back to what the last was. Or you can see that right below it, it shows this keyboard shortcut, which is Command Z, Control Z on a PC. So I will redo, and then I'm going to use the keyboard shortcuts. And the keyboard shortcut to redo is Shift Command Z. So on my keyboard, what I'm hitting now is Command Z. You can see the keyboard shortcut down the bottom, and then Shift Command Z, and that'll put it back. So I'm just jumping back and forth. A nice, easy way instead of going up here and clicking the arrows. This is just telling me that my edits have been saved to the cloud. If you're not connected to the internet or you lose connection, it'll let you know that that's what happened there. This is the title. I haven't titled it anything, so let's just say test. You can title it whatever you want. You can do that there, and that's what it'll save it as. This is if you want to upgrade. This is the account that I'm logged into. These are insights that if you were to share your images or use anything from Canva like on the web, this will give you kind of insights to the images. We're not going to probably be using any of that, so I'd skip right over that. And this is your share. This is where you're going to click to save your images. So if you're going to save this as a PNG or you're going to download it, you have the options to download as PNG. Once again, I will not get transparent backgrounds because I don't have the paid version. So if you want transparent backgrounds, you're going to have to pay for it. You also get a cap at the size you can export as. It's just right. This is it. This is all you get. I cannot change this because I don't have the paid version. That's up to you if you want that. I don't pay for it because I don't need it. And once again, downloading stuff would not be any different. The only thing is I'll be able to check that box. And right now I can't. So my options to download are PNG. I believe SVG is an upgrade. You can download as a PDF, which is interesting because I believe this will come down as a vector if I do a PDF. So it kind of skips over the fact of having to be an SVG, but we'll get into it in another video. For the most part, you'll be downloading as a PNG or as a JPEG. So you just click there. And I would suggest doing PNG as it says suggested. And then, like I said, if you get the upgrade, you can do transparent background. Also in here is kind of like when I do my templates and I'm sharing a template link, I would share this link right here. That allows me to send the link to people so that they can edit this, but it doesn't edit my image. If I were just to share, share a link when they, not as a template, they would actually be able to edit my original, and I don't want that. So I share as a template link. You can give people access. Right now, I only have access. And if you give people access, they're going to be able to edit your original. So I wouldn't do that. And then, of course, you have all this other stuff for social media, save to different places, messaging. This is just literally how to share it to all these different types of social medias and web applications, which I won't get into too much because I'm just going to be downloading images to my computer, and that's kind of where my story ends. But you have all these other options. Okay, so that's that. Now, let me delete this, and that way we can start with let's start with a pixel image. And I'm gonna have to put up one of my images because I don't have any images that are gonna be without a watermark because I don't have, well, I guess we could use this one. This will work. I just wanna show you what the options that you get with the free version to edit photos and how this interface all works. So with nothing selected, you'll see all I have is position up here, and I can click that, and that'll give me the arrange option and layers, but everything's kind of grayed out because nothing is selected. In order to start doing stuff, you have to make a selection of something. Otherwise, you just really can't do anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select our image that we just dropped in here just by clicking on it. And now you'll see stuff starts to happen over here. I get options for arrangement, which is whether I want to bring it to the front or back. And I'll show you that in a minute. Where I want to align it to, if I click top, it'll jump to the top. If I click bottom, it jumps to the bottom, middle, and left and right. And you'll see that these are grayed out because I can't go to the middle because it is in the middle. I can go to this. I can't go to the right because it is at the right. I can hit center, and you'll see center goes away because it is centered. Okay. Over here you have width and height. This ratio thing is defaulted unlocked. Why? I do not know. This should never be unlocked. It should always be locked, and I'll show you why. If, let's say, I'm like, oh, you know what? I want this to fit the height of my tumbler, which is going to be 8.5. If I type in 8.5 over here, it stretches the image. I don't want the image to be stretched. You can see that this is not like a nice little circle tomato anymore, and the squares aren't really squares. I don't want that to stretch. I want it to move in aspect. So I lock that, and now when I type in 8.5 or 8.25, it now is the size of this, but you see now it's stayed in aspect ratio, and you can see that everything changed. The height changed, the width changed, everything changed. And that's what you always want. And in order to make sure that's happening when you're sizing it using these little sides, you always want to grab a corner. You can see that the corner will always allow it to scale in aspect ratio. If for some reason you don't want that, and I don't know why you wouldn't, if you hold the shift key, you will now get, actually you don't, yeah, you'll get the crop tools, actually what you get. You don't get the, I'm confusing Illustrator and Photoshop now. Let me back up real quick. If for some reason you want this to change in aspect ratio, like I said, I think if you unlock this now, you do this, yeah, you'll be able to squish it now. Yeah, the corners always allow you to do that. These are the one, these little things on the side are the crop tools. So if you wanted to crop into this corn, you can grab these and drag these down, and it'll crop the image to just this corn. And now I can just drag that around, and I can actually even size that up or down by grabbing the corners. But if you're going to use numbers, make sure this aspect lock is locked. You don't want to have this thing stretched. You want to just make it so that it's in aspect. I want to see something, how that's the center. Okay, so back to position. And then you have X and Y coordinates. So this is if you had a position you wanted to put it in exactly in a spot, it's going to put it where you want it, but you'd have to know the dimensions and know where you want it to go. So an example of that would be if I want this image to be exactly at the top here, this point up here is 0, 0. So if I type in 0, 0, whoops, you'll see that it'll jump right to that corner because it's going off of this top corner, and that's going to put it where it wants to go. So if I wanted this an inch over, I can type in 1, and it'll be exactly 1 inch from this corner. So that X is this way and the Y is down. X is left to right, Y is top to bottom. So if I type in 1 inch here, that means this image is now 1 inch over and 1 inch down because it's using this top corner as its reference point to maneuver the image around the canvas. Okay, rotation, you can put in the degrees that you want. I could put in 90 and it'll spin it. 180, we'll flip it all the way around. 0, we'll put it back to where it was originally, okay? And that's it. So that's that. Same thing, remember, these are our crop tools. You can always uncrop, okay? If for some reason I want to move this image around inside of this crop, if I double click, it'll now open and show me the original image, but keeping the crop. So now what I could do is I could drag this over. Let's say now I want the artichoke there. I can bring the artichoke in the frame, and now the artichoke is the one that's inside of the crop, okay? And that all you do is you just double click on there, and that's what that does. And this will show you the aspect ratio. You can rotate this inside of there. You can change it to a square, which will change the crop to a square. They give you all kinds of 16:9, 9:16, 5:4. These are all different aspect ratios. And as I click them, you can see the crop changing to that aspect ratio. So if you wanted a perfect square, I could do that. And then I could just size up. Whoops. I could then just make my artichoke a little bit bigger in the frame and center it right there. And then there you go. I have a square. Okay. That is all inside of the arrange. In the layers, this will probably make more sense if I add another image. So let's just duplicate this. And I'm going to change this to corn like that. So now I have a corn and an artichoke, and I'm going to go to position, and now you'll see the layers. So right now the corn is on top of the artichoke. If I want, I can move by clicking these little 6 dots right here. This is kind of what the grabber, if you will. It's like a little, helps me grab this layer. I can grab this layer and drag it down below. Now you see it's behind the artichoke. So now that's my layers. And as you have more layers, this is how they stack on top of each other. This is the background. You can click on it and change the color of the background if you'd like. It gives you the color picker. Let me go back real quick and show you that again. So position, if I double click on the color here, it'll allow me to change the color of the background. Simple as that. I can give it no color, but that probably won't work in this one because I don't have the version that gives transparency, so you probably won't see that. So I'll go back here. Let me see. Click on. Oh, I can probably take the. We'll get to that in a minute. I probably can take transparency down, but we'll get that in a minute. I want to stay over here. So that's the color of the background. Here are the layers. You can lock layers and do other stuff by coming and hovering over these little ellipses, these 3 dots. You can copy the style. If I had effects on here, that would copy the style. I'll get to that in a little bit. You can paste, duplicate, delete. You can move the layer around using this, or you can just drag them around. You could use the align tool here. So if I want to align this to the right, I click that, does that. I can link things together. I can add a comment, show timings for animation. We're not going to use that. You can lock that image so that now I can't select it and I can't move it. It's going to stay there, which is good. To unlock it, I can click there, or I can click up here at the top. Let me go back to my layers, and we're going to unlock that. And also when it's locked, just so you know, you can't get to that ellipse either. You have to unlock it, and you can't unlock it from here, which is weird. So you have to do it over here or up at the top. So I'm going to unlock it. And alternative text, you don't need to worry about that. Replace background and apply colors to page. So these are kind of some other options. I've never actually used apply colors to page. Oh, okay. So the color of the image you're selected will go to, oh, that's kind of cool. So look at that. I just learned something new. So that would mean that if I zoom in on this artichoke, I bet if I make this really, if I make this artichoke really big, ooh, let me undo that. If I make this artichoke really big and put it in here so that it's mostly green, I bet if I come over here now, apply colors to page, no, it's just doing whatever this background is. So, all right. So that's the side panel there. That's the position and layers and arrange. Moving to the top. If I have an image selected, and in this case, remember, if you watch my first video, you'll know that these are all pixel images, not vectors. So we get certain options up here that will differ for when these are SVGs, and we'll go over that in another video. If I select here, I get edit photo. I get a bunch of options to edit these photos. Once again, you'll have to have the pro version to do this stuff up here. Remove background, magic expand, magic erase. We won't have any of those options. All we'll get is this stuff down here where you can add a drop shadow, focus, blur. You can mess with these effects. We'll be using this throughout as we move forward, but this is kind of where you get to them. You have filters. You can see all the filters, and these are just kind of like on your phone. You'll have image filters. Adjusts. You get all kinds of color adjustments for here. Which is pretty cool. So you can adjust the temperature of the image. You got tint, brightness and darkness. We got contrast, highlights, all kinds of stuff. You can mess with this to your heart's content to kind of get the image to look the way you want if you need to mess with it. You got textures. We can really increase the sharpness, which I wouldn't advise because it makes it look funny. Clarity, you can probably mess with a little bit. Vignetting, which is the outside vignetting. And then you have the crop tool, which you can do like we've been doing it. Or yeah, the expand we're not going to get access to, but we don't need it. And you have rotation, you have the crop. We kind of messed with this already. Okay, that's that. You have flip, which is you can flip it horizontally or vertically. It has an info button, which is kind of cool because this will tell you kind of where it came from. It's a free, and these are all the keywords for that image. So if you wanted to find something that was kind of similar to this, you can use these keywords. You can star it so that it saves it, add it to a folder, see more like this, or view the collection that it came from. And that's kind of cool too, because then you can find something that might be similar. So we have all these other images that will kind of fit in with this because it's very similar to what we already have. Okay. Border style, that just means the border outside the image here. So you can increase that. You can make them curved, grounded. You can make them dotted. You can increase the weight of them so it makes it thicker or thinner, and the amount of cornering. So you can come all the way this way or just change the amount of cornering, okay? And this will adjust the amount of dots that you have for the dash lines. And you could say no border. If you want to change the color, it appears right here. So as soon as you turn it on, you can now adjust the color. So if you want the color to be something, you can make it whatever color you want. You can click on this thing at the top, which is like this color kind of wheel almost, gradient. And then that'll bring up the eyedropper tools. That'll let me select the color directly off the image so that maybe you want to match that. So that if I want to match this black, it'll match that, or the green, whatever green color is in this artichoke here, maybe that one, and it'll match and get it all dialed in, okay? I'm going to turn off the borders for now. Animate, I'm never going to really go over because we're not going to use that. We do still images. We don't do animations. Position, once again, if you select that, it's going to bring up the Arrange and Layers panel, which we've already talked about. Transparency allows for the amount of opacity an image has. So if I lay this on top of this corn, you'll see that if I start to bring the transparency down, the corn kind of shines through from behind, okay? And that goes all the way down to 0, and that's 100. All right, next is the copy style. So what does that mean? So I'm gonna put the borders back on real quick, just so you can see this. And now if I come over here and hit copy style, oh, I got a copy style, and I come over here and paste style, it should, oh, I guess it would have, I thought it would have pasted that. Copy style. There it goes. So let me undo that so we can see that again. So I have this image selected. I'm going to click here to copy style, and now the style is copied to the clipboard. And now if I just click on this, it'll add that style to the new image. So whatever effects I have on here, you're going to copy that. And by style, they mean effects. And then I'm going to paste those effects onto the new one. So I think even if I do, let me remove this from this. So let's add one or two more effects so we can see it really happen. If I go to edit photo, I'm going to add a drop shadow to this. Oh, it's adding it on the outside. Oh, I didn't even know it did that. That's lame. Excuse me. So what it's doing is it's adding the drop shadow to the actual image on the, not this crop part, just the image on the outside. So we're just going to say none for now. Let's see, does the blur work? This is if you want to add blur to a part of the image. So let's blur. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see. So that's all blurred. So if I copy that, paste, yeah, the blurred worked, but I think it worked only in, yeah, it only worked in the sections we blurred. So it actually does work. But it only blurred part of the image that is not in frame. So if I drag this over, you'll see that the blur did copy over. I'm going to hit Command Z or Control Z on your PC a bunch of times to kind of go back to get rid of all that stuff we just did. That's good enough. Let's bring the corn back. Whoops. And let's get rid of that border. We don't want that anymore. Okay. And then the last thing is the lock, and that's it. So then you can either lock it, and once it's locked, you can't do anything with it. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of the interface. You can do other stuff down here, add pages and all that kind of stuff. We're not going to do that because we're mostly going to be working on one page because it's going to be one design and then we're going to save it out. We're not going to do a bunch of different pages. If I get to something that we need to learn that, I will go over that. But I want you to see kind of the interface, and now you have an idea what each thing does. Don't be afraid to click around and look what you can figure out with these different options and features. But this is kind of an overview of everything, because if you had any questions about, oh, what does that do? That's kind of where we're at. Okay, I hope this helped you out, and we'll see you soon.